So the PS3 is turning 19 years old this year, which it's pretty crazy to think about. I've been seeing a lot of videos recently with people checking out the PS3 and the online multiplayer, and I figured that I'd dust off my PS3, literally, and check it out myself. Some people may not know, but PS Online is free for the PS3, which was a pretty big deal when the PlayStation 4 released and it changed to a monthly subscription. Before jumping into the games, I laid out all the PS3 games that I could find, which I think is a reasonable amount. I couldn't find Modern Warfare 2, which is a shame, but if I dug through all my stuff a bit more, I'm sure I could find it somewhere. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see me check out any of these other games. I wanted to get a first-hand look at one of the games I used to play, Modern Warfare 3, and see how alive the servers are. And I was actually surprised when I got into a lobby within 30 seconds. I wasn't surprised, however, to see that everyone playing the game still was around level 80. Aside from that, the game ran smoothly and it played exactly how you'd expect a Call of Duty game to play. I had some fun running around some of the old maps that I remember, and it was kind of nice to jump into, and I was surprised that the servers are still up after all these years. After doing some multiplayer, I decided to check out the Special Ops mission as well. These missions were some of the most fun that I had back in the day, and especially for co-op, it was peak. Personally, I don't think the Modern Warfare 3 missions are as memorable for me as the Modern Warfare 2 missions are, but they'll have to do for now since I can't find my copy of Modern Warfare 2. That being said, one thing that I do remember about this game is these hyenas killing me every time, and the one thing that hasn't changed is I still can't seem to do the QuickTime event correctly to prevent my throat from being ripped out. Aside from that though, I generally had fun running through some of these missions again. They present a genuine challenge if you're looking for one, and trying to complete all the missions on veteran mode can be seriously difficult. It's kinda nice to have an objective aside from just shoot the enemy, and I feel like there's enough missions in Special Ops to almost warrant buying the game just for that purpose. For the next game, I wanted to check out Killzone 3, which was my first PlayStation game, as it came in a bundle with mine. I remember absolutely loving this game and that the whole vibe was really cool. I can't tell you anything about the story all these years later, but what I do remember is the cool melee animations. Unfortunately, when I tried to play multiplayer, I found out that the servers were shut down in 2022, so I had to jump into the campaign. Looking through the missions, it shows your death count, and I was actually a bit surprised to see how high my death count was in some of these missions. But I thought to myself, I was like 13 at the time, I was probably just bad at the game. But oh my god, when I jumped in, I was surprised at just how difficult the game actually was. While the sub 30 frames at times didn't help, the amount of damage you take and how quickly you take it was an actual surprise to me. These death counts weren't looking that surprising to me anymore. But aside from that, I was able to run around a bit through a couple of the missions, and I got a few of those cool melee kills and reminisced a little bit. I do want to say that Killzone 3 is a 14-year-old game. While the game is obviously dated, considering that the game itself is 14 years old and that it's running on hardware that's 19 years old, I think it looks pretty good all things considered. If the game were running at 60 frames per second, I think it'd look pretty fantastic. The Killzone series is one that I'd really like to see a remaster for, and I think that it would sell pretty well. Hopefully Sony considers a remaster at the very least, if not a brand new Killzone 4. In an interview done in March of this year, the composer for the game, Joris Deman, says that while he thinks a remaster would sell very well, he believes that the tone of the series is too bleak to sell well. Personally, I think that this is pretty clearly not an issue when we have games like the Resident Evil series, the Souls series, etc., which have very dark tones and they continue to be favorites and they sell very well. That being said, it has been 14 years since the last Killzone release, so only time will tell if Sony decides to touch this series again, but for now, I'm not really that hopeful. For the final game of the video, I decided to play Dead Space 3. I absolutely loved the Dead Space series. It was probably my first real introduction to the horror genre. I remember watching my brother-in-law play the first game, and it generally freaked me out at the time, albeit I was quite young, but you gotta admit, the monsters in this game are quite freaky. Years later, I think that this series is a really unique and a memorable one. It's hard for me to believe that this game came out in 2013, already 12 years ago now, with the first game coming out all the way back in 2008. Despite it being 12 years old, I think Dead Space 3 holds up pretty well. Jumping straight into the middle of the campaign after not touching the game for years, I did forget some of the mechanics and the controls. I got locked in this room, and I could not for the life of me figure out that I was supposed to use the stasis mechanic, or whatever it's called, just so I could open up the doors. I did eventually figure it out though, and after I did, I had fun replaying some of the missions. One thing I like about this game is the HUD being on the back of Isaac, your character. Seeing the health bar on the suit, along with your stasis meter, body temperature, or whatever else it might be, is a really cool way to integrate important mechanics and other things, while at the same time making it more immersive. For now, that's about it for my delve back into my PS3 library. Again, let me know if there are any games that you guys would like to see me check out, or let me know if any of the games I talked about today have a special place in your heart. I also recently dug out my original Xbox, and I'm planning on making a similar video for that as well. I have a ton of Xbox games, so consider subscribing if you'd like to see that video or other ones like it. That's about it. Thanks for watching. See ya.